walks in and runs. Zach Wilson's loose. Zach Wilson's running. He's got all day. He stays in bounds. Zach Wilson caught it. Zach Wilson gets in the end zone for the touchdown. Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another Jets live stream. Welcome in, everybody. Today we got a fun show for you guys. We're going to be talking about the New York Jets and the state of this team. We're going to break down the current roster, talk about what are some holes that you want to see be filled in the NFL draft, which is less than 2 weeks away. Also, we're going to be talking about any hypothetical trades that we can expect leading up to the draft or on draft night. And I basically want to go over also the long-term vision for Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh's New York Jets, because we all know that they are going all in to build a sustainable winner franchise that Jets fans have been waiting to see for so damn long. And I want to break all of that down in today's live stream on this beautiful Sunday. So guys, welcome into the show. Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday morning. Well, now it's afternoon. And yeah, smash that like button on your way in. We're just getting started. Let's get into the chat. Let's see who is joining the show live. If you're watching this live or you're watching on replay, please do me a favor. Smash that thumbs up button for your boy. Really appreciate all the support here on Jets Media. And of course, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you'll get notified every time I go live or post a video about your very own New York Jets. Dan comes here and says, Richie looks like Squints from Sandlot. Love that kid. Thanks, Dan. I guess I look like a little 11-year-old to you with the glasses and the backwards hat. I can see that. Let's get Debo. I'm down 100%. Melvin Gordon, not the biggest fan to get Melvin Gordon. I think the New York Jets are going to go out there and draft a running back to complement Michael Carter. Richie looks exactly like phase replays. Do I just look like everybody, guys? Do I look like everybody? Thanks, Taco, I guess. What up? What up, man? Flair's in the building. My guy Dan's in the chat. What's up, brother? LFGM, yes, sir. Any Mets fans in the chat, which I know not every single person are Mets fans, but I just want to let you guys know I will be posting my first Mets media video of the season after today's game. I'm going to post a series recap talking about all 4 games against the Washington Nationals. And yes, I know that some of you guys might not be baseball fans, some of you guys might not be Mets fans, but any of the Mets fans watching, I just want to let you guys know, expect a video on my Mets media channel breaking down the Mets and National series coming up. Let's go Mets indeed. So shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody tuning in. So the first thing I want to go right into, guys, is breaking down the Jets' current roster and what the strengths and the weaknesses are on this New York Jets team. So I have the list of the roster right in front of us right here. This is on the Jets website. There's a lot of players on this roster chart that's probably not going to make the team. But the Jets also have the most players in the NFL under contract right now. So that goes to show that there's a lot of players that will be cut getting into training camp. And, of course, at that pivotal part in before the preseason or after the preseason of cutting that roster down to 53. So there's a lot of guys on this roster that I really want to break down and talk about. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the chat, of course, about any players that you think stand out, any players that you think are going to make a big-time impact, any players that you think will get cut or make the team. So we'll start off with Connor McGovern. Connor McGovern will be the starting center, bearing any changes going into the draft. Maybe the Jets go out there and get Tyler Linderbaum. We have no idea what the Jets will do. Or they get a guy in Zion Johnson, transition him to center, or they draft one later on in the draft, and Connor McGovern's still the center, and he'll be taking over the reins next year. Because I think we all know that Connor McGovern now is the weak link of the offensive line. Mekhi Becton is going into year number 3. We're expecting big things from him if he is healthy. Elijah Vera-Tucker sliding over to right guard. Laken Tomlinson, the Pro Bowler, and George Fant. So all of a sudden, Connor McGovern is the weak link, and he's not even that much of a weak link. I think he's an average center in this league, and I'm okay with that. And here's Michael Carter II, the sophomore, going into year number 2. Let's talk about him for a sec, because I think he might be one of the most underrated players on the entire Jets defense. What Michael Carter II did last year is unbelievable for a player that got drafted in the 5th round. He's going to be the starting cornerback for the New York Jets this season. Once again, the starting slot cornerback in that nickel package. his ability to blitz the quarterback, his ability to drop into zone coverage, his ability to play man-to-man coverage in the slot against tight ends or slot receivers is undeniable. I'll never forget week number 1 against the Carolina Panthers. I was at the game, and I think it was the first drive. It was 3rd and short, and Sam Darnold tested Michael Carter II on a 3rd down fade route. It was a slot fade. Michael Carter II was man-to-man, I think, Marshall, and it was a good throw from Sam, but it was amazing coverage from MC2, and he got the pass deflection. And I was right there. I watched that, and I'm like, wow, that was a beautiful play from the rookie. Awesome fundamentals. And ever since then, I'm like, wow, we might have something special here in Michael Carter II at Duke. And ever since then, he balled out for the rest of the year. You can say that he might have been the best rookie on the defense. I know that Brendan Eccles balled out, of course, as well, but Michael Carter II, I think, is going to be the starting cornerback in the slot for the New York Jets moving forward, and Jets fans need to realize that we got an absolute stud in the draft last year. And then, now Isaiah Dunn is a player that I'm expecting to make the roster again, probably as at CB5. I think that we're going to draft another cornerback. Whether that's going to be high in the draft like Stingley or Sauce, we don't know, or they're going to go back into the draft and like we usually have done in the 3rd, 4th rounds, get a guy like Kobe White or all those guys, Kobe Bryant, excuse me. So Isaiah Dunn, I think, is going to be competing for that depth piece and trying to make the roster. Brendan Eccles is the other he's another cornerback coming off a really impressive rookie campaign for the New York Jets coming out of Kentucky. So he had 46 solo tackles and 2 interceptions. And I think that he's another really underappreciated player on this Jets defense, especially from the youth. I'm not expecting him to be a starter for this Jets team this year. I think he's a perfect player to develop in the system and provide depth. Because remember, this Jets team is known to be a guy that, not him, but this Jets team at this position or just in general are known to get injured all the time. So I love Brendan Eccles. I think the Jets really hit a home run with this draft pick. And I'm really excited for his potential for the New York Jets moving forward 100%, because we need depth at that position. And I feel like the quarterback room is a room that should get Jets fans very excited, especially for the future of the youth. Now, Javelin Guidry is a player that we re-signed, another guy that's probably going to be the backup behind Michael Carter II in the slot. So he's going to be providing depth behind MC2. I love Javelin Guidry. He's that speedy guy. And then Bryce Hall, probably one of those underappreciated players on this entire team, in my opinion. A lot of people want to replace him. A lot of people want to draft a guy in Sauce Gardner or Stingley to replace Bryce Hall. And yes, I understand Sauce Gardner and Stingley really are elite prospects. But if the Jets do not get Sauce, if they do not go Stingley in the 1st round, I am all on board with Bryce Hall being the starting cornerback alongside DJ Reed. There's nothing wrong with that. What Bryce Hall did last year was absolutely phenomenal. No, he did not get an interception, but he was locking down his side of the ball, locking down his side of the field every single game. Whenever he got beat once, he would never get beat again. He just was locking people down, pass deflections, sticky man coverage, great tackler. And I think the way that he can take that next step is by becoming a ball hawk, by finding the ball, ripping it out of the air, and creating those turnovers. So Bryce Hall is a player that Joe Douglas found in the 5th round that Jets fans should really understand has a really bright future in this league. And I think he's a perfect fit for the scheme. And he's really intelligent. And he's got really big work ethic. So shout out to Bryce Hall, one of my favorite players on the entire defensive side of the ball. Is him. And now we got to get into Justin Hardy, the special teams ace, of course. Justin Hardy is a player that is an absolute stud on the special teams. He's the captain. That's the 3rd phase of the ball that a lot of people need to realize is very important in this league. And we got Brant Boyer as the special teams coordinator, who's a dog, and Justin Hardy is that captain holding down the special teams. So you got to give credit to where it's due, and that's exactly what Hardy brings. Now we get into Jason Pinnock. Pinnock is labeled as a corner, but I think we all know that Jason Pinnock is a player that might be lining up at safety this year. At the end of the year last year, he transitioned to the safety role, and I feel like Jets fans should expect him to do the same thing, provide depth at the safety spot. I like what we saw from him later on in the season when he did get that start at the safety position. And you see what the Jets did last year. We drafted a lot of defensive backs in the back end of the draft. Pinnock, Eccles, Carter II, and we even drafted Najeldine and Sherwood and transitioned them to linebacker, So expect Jason Pinnock to provide depth at that position moving forward. And then, of course, DJ Reed, our big splash of a signing in free agency. DJ Reed is going to be wearing number 1 for the New York Jets. He's a 5'9" cornerback who's going to be locking down the right side of the ball And I'm really excited to see what DJ Reed can do because he's now our CB #1, and he's going to be a guy that I think is going to take a big step. He's 25 years old. He's only getting better and better, and he's familiar with the system. He was drafted by the 49ers when San Francisco had Robert Saleh as their defensive coordinator. So we all know what to expect from DJ Reed. Hopefully he can have a really good season for the New York Jets and lock down his side of the field. Now, Rashad Wildgoose, he's probably not going to make the roster. If I had to guess, he's probably just going to be either a practice squad player or a guy that will be cut. So we're not going to really get into him. Same with Javelin White. Not really expecting anything from him. Now we're getting into the defensive line. Now this is a player that I feel like Jets fans need to realize he might have a big-time role on this team. Bradlee Anae. He's a guy that we signed right at the end of the season. And if you go into his career numbers with Dallas Cowboys, two seasons under his belt, he doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's a guy that can really, provide depth at that spot. I feel like this is not a guy that's going to be, in the rotation right out of the gate because we signed Martin, we have Carl Lawson, we have Bryce Huff, we have John Franklin Myers, and we're all expecting to draft a guy high in the draft in the first round, like a Thibodeau or Jermaine Johnson or a Walker, to really bolster up this defensive line. So Bradlee Anae is an interesting player that's going to provide depth and really compete to make the roster heading into training camp. Now, John Franklin Myers, is there enough to say about this man? He might be the most underrated player, underappreciated player on this entire Jets roster. And I say that with confidence because what JFM did last year was phenomenal. He got paid, and a lot of Jets fans were saying we shouldn't have paid him. And I completely disagree. If we do not pay John Franklin Myers at that time, he would have hit the open market, we would have had to overpay for him, or he would have walked. And if John Franklin Myers would have walked in free agency, all of a sudden, this defensive line does not look anything good. I would be concerned because the good thing about John Franklin Myers is his ability to be versatile, lining up on the edge and inside on the defensive line. You look at what he did last year. You can't just look at the box numbers. You can't look at the sacks. You can't look at all this stuff. You got to watch the tape to realize all the disruptive qualities that John Franklin Myers brought to this New York Jets team. In 2 years with the New York Jets, he's durable. 15 games in 2020, 16 games last year. He's coming off a season with 5 sacks, I believe. No, he had 6 sacks last year, and he had so many pressures. So expect a lot of things from John Franklin Myers. I think this is going to be his best career season in his entire NFL career this season under Robert Saleh. Now, Bryce Huff is a player that had a really interesting season last year. He did not get a lot of playing time simply because of injuries, unfortunately. He only played 9 games. But this is an undrafted free agent the New York Jets got in 2 years ago in the draft. Kind of feels like we drafted him, you know what I mean? Kind of feels like someone that we drafted because he is playing that much. He has 4 career sacks, and he's going to be providing depth at that spot. There's no doubt that he's going to be providing pressure on that quarterback. So I love what I'm seeing from Bryce Huff. And, of course, Carl Lawson, he's going to be the X factor of this defense. If Carl Lawson can come in here and be a player to get to that next level, like what we saw in training camp last year and what we expected a while, we paid him $15 million per year. Carl Lawson is going to be the X factor of this entire Jets defense. Jonathan Marshall, this is an interesting player that I think that he's going to have a big-time impact on this team this year. It was a 6th-round pick last year. He got playing time at the back end of the season. But Jonathan Marshall is a player that I would expect to be part of the rotation on the defensive line this season. Now, Sheldon Rankins, he definitely had a not that good of a year last year. We kind of signed him to be that pass-rushing interior defensive lineman, and he really didn't do that great. Only 3 sacks on the year. We didn't expect him to be dominant. He was a guy that's going to be, providing depth only in the rotation, not someone that's going to be making, crazy highlight plays. So hopefully Sheldon Rankins can do a little more this year because last year he didn't really do anything that really stood out to me personally. Hamilcar Rashed Jr., our undrafted free agent last year, we'll see if he makes the roster. I'm not expecting him to make the roster, to be honest. Nathan Shepard, another player that's going to provide depth. Tanzel Smart, another depth piece. Solomon Thomas, I'm excited for Solomon Thomas. If you guys watch this channel, follow me on Twitter. This is the player that I expected the Jets to sign right out of the gate just because of his ties with Robert Saleh. Excited to see what he can do with this system once again, providing depth behind Quinton Williams, Rankins, and JFM. Tim Ward is a guy that we claimed last year, and he actually didn't look too bad. I'm expecting him to go out there and try to make the roster. I don't know if he will, but we will see. And, of course, the big man, Quinton Williams. Now, this is another big piece of this defense that I think is going to determine if this Jets defense takes another step. Because if Quinnen Williams can reach his full potential this year and get to the quarterback with like consistently, right? 6 sacks for an interior defensive lineman is pretty damn good. It's above average. You know, he is like a top 5 defensive tackle in this league in terms of pass rush. I know a lot of Jets fans feel like he has not lived up to his potential because he was a 3rd overall pick. We're expecting a little more from a guy in Quinnen Williams drafted that high. But he has 15.5 career sacks in 3 seasons. He's coming off a 6-sack season last year. And there's no denying that he has not really broken out to be that dominant force that we expected. He has not really hit that level, and Quinnen Williams understands that he's not hitting the level that he expects from himself, and that's a really good sign that Quinnen Williams has a standard for himself that he is not hitting yet. So hopefully he can really hit that this season, because that's going to be a big time factor of his of this entire Jets defense. And of course, Jabbar Zuniga, you know, he had 1 sack last year. I don't really think he's going to be making the roster, to be honest. Nick Bawden, our starting fullback, we re-signed him. Good to see our fullback back. Now getting into some offensive linemen. Let's see which is next. Laken Tomlinson, the Pro Bowl guard, is going to be our starting left guard this year, which is pretty dope. Greg Van Roten, he's still on the roster. A lot of people expect him to be cut. I think he's going to be our backup guard, providing depth. I have nothing wrong with that at all. You know, Greg Van Roten, you know, he's definitely not a great player, right? But if he's going to be our backup guard, I'm okay with that. As long as he's not starting, that's okay. Eddy Piñeiro and Greg Zuerlin is going to be our 2 kickers to going to be in the competition. Let me know in the chat right now, guys. Who do you think is going to win this battle? Will it be Eddy Piñeiro or will it be Greg Zuerlin? If you're watching some replay, let me know in the chat or in the comments down below your thoughts of the kicking competition. And it's interesting that this roster on the Jets only has 2 guards lined up here. Like, where's Elijah Vera-Tucker? But we'll get into that probably eventually. Now, getting into the linebackers, they have Jacob Martin listed as a linebacker. You know, he's not going to be playing linebacker in the 4-3 system. He's going to be a defensive end. Jacob Martin is a player that I'm really excited for because he has so much speed coming off that edge. And I feel like he's going to be a player that's going to shock some people. I really feel like in this Jets system that's all about putting your hands in the dirt and attacking the quarterback, he's going to thrive. He's coming off his best career year, 17 games last year, was durable, played in every single one, started in 14 of them, and is coming off a 4-sack season. I feel like in this system, he's a guy that's going to get timely sacks and going to provide depth and be in that rotation at that edge spot for the New York Jets moving forward. And I feel like it's a really good depth signing. 3 years, around $13.5 million. Sign me up. Now, CJ Mosley, he's coming off his best season of his career and the best season we've ever seen from a Jets linebacker. He broke the record for most tackles by any player in Jets history. Pretty crazy. Now, the good thing about CJ Mosley is he was healthy all year long. 16 games played. That's all we want from our starting linebacker. 83 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections. Now, he is a player that is the quarterback of his defense. He's important for this roster. A lot of people expecting him to be cut after this year. We don't know if that's going to happen. I feel like if he's a guy that can restructure his contract, I'd be all for it. I'm expecting big things from CJ Mosley this year. He is just the guy that's the vocal leader, and he's only 29 years old. Like, he's still got a lot of juice left in the tank. I'm excited to see what CJ can do in another year with the New York Jets. He really impressed me last year for this Jets team, but at the same time, he needs to be held accountable because he was the quarterback of the worst defense in the league last year. So he really needs to, you know, I don't think it was on him. I think it was a factor of lack of pass rush and a lack of talent on the team. But CJ Mosley got a lot of things to do this season for the New York Jets. Hamza Nasruddin, he's going to be providing depth going into year number 2. I think that the New York Jets are going to really try to develop Nasruddin into the future piece at that linebacker spot. I feel like he has all the qualities you want physically with a safety transitioning to the linebacker. 6'3", 215 pounds. You know, he didn't really get a lot of playing time last year as a special teams option, but I feel like the Jets really like what they're seeing from Nasruddin in terms of his physical abilities. Now, same with Jamien Sherwood. Unfortunately for him, he went down with an Achilles injury that really shut him down for the season. But he was getting a lot of playing time at linebacker before Quincy Williams got the start. And hopefully he can really come back out there, rehab, and get healthy on the field. Delshon Phillips is another guy that's probably going to be providing depth. I don't know if he's going to make the roster. Quincy Williams. I think Quincy Williams will be the starting linebacker alongside Quinnen Williams. Let me know your guys' thoughts about this. I know that Quincy Williams is a player that some Jets fans are fond of. Some of them don't really like him because a little too over-aggressive. He misses tackles at times. But 64 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles last year for the Jets for our waiver claimer. 16 games, started at 13 of them. 5 pass deflections. I love what I saw from him. I feel like he is a prototypical Robert Saleh style linebacker. Violent, hits hard, plays at 110 miles per hour, gets his nose dirty. That's a player that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh really want to go crazy for this Jets defense. Now, Tom Hennessy, I don't think we need to break down him that much. He is the long snapper, but he is a GOAT. You got to give him credit. Now, Cam Clark, as we know, unfortunately, he's retiring early with that neck injury. Hopefully, he's going to be okay for his life in the long run because it's bigger than football there. So, really sucks that Cameron Clark had to go down, and we never really got to see him out there. This is another reason why I'm expecting the Jets to go out there and draft an offensive lineman, not only in the couple first rounds, but expect the Jets to draft at least 2 offensive linemen this draft for depth purposes to develop. Dan Feeney, the mullet, we re-signed him. He's going to be providing depth for the New York Jets. Parker Ferguson, another depth piece on that O-line. Grant Herman's another depth piece. I think these 2 guys are going to be competing to make the roster. Connor McDermott, we re-signed. He's currently the swing tackle behind Mekhi Becton and George Fant. Ross Personbacker, I'm not expecting him to make the roster. This is another guy that's going to go into training camp. Same with Drew Samia. Now, Elijah Vera-Tucker. Now, the interesting thing about ABT, I want to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the chat. How do you think he's going to transition to right guard? Because as a rookie, he did a really good job at left guard. Now he's sliding over to the right side. He played in 16 games. The only game that he missed was due to COVID. So the really good thing about ABT in his rookie campaign was his durability and his ability to get better and better as the season progressed. I'm not really expecting a big-time adjustment for ABT. He's still young. He's very smart. He's a versatile player, which is why the Jets traded up to get him. And I think that ABT is going to have no problems sliding over to the right guard spot for the New York Jets this season. So let me know your guys' thoughts about that, of course. And Isaiah Williams, another player that the Jets brought back that's going to be providing depth on this offensive line. Now, Braden Mann is going to be the punter. He hasn't really, showed out to be the punter of the future yet. But, hopefully he can have his best season for the Jets this upcoming season. Now, the quarterback room, Joey Flacco, Mikey White, and Zachary Wilson. This is the same exact quarterback room as last year. I love that the Jets are bringing back Mike White and Joe Flacco to provide continuity for the young quarterback and Zach Wilson. He loves Mike White. He loves Joe Flacco as mentors. He's familiar with them. I think it was just a home run for the Jets to bring them back. And let's hope that Mike White and Joe Flacco do not see the field all season long, so our guy Zach Wilson can play all 17 games. If we get into his numbers, we all know what he did last year. 13 games, 2,334 yards, averaging 6 yards per attempt, 9 touchdowns through the air, 11 interceptions, got sacked 44 times. His rating was 69.69, haha, and he rushed for 185 yards and rushed for 4 touchdowns and having 5 fumbles and only 1 of them lost. So I do want to see rushing numbers take a big increase this year. And Zach, I'm going to break down Zach Wilson so much this offseason, so I'm not going to really do that in this video because I got a lot of fun things to break down about Zach Wilson in terms of his film, in terms of what to expect in year number 2, and all that great stuff. So we're not going to do that so much in this video. Now, getting into the running back room, we got Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, La'Mical Perine, and Austin Walter. I'm expecting the Jets to draft a running back in this year's draft class to add to this mix to provide a competition. I think Michael Carter and Tevin Coleman are easy 2 locks to make the team. I think Ty Johnson, La'Mical Perine, and Austin Walter will all be on the roster bubble because we're going to be drafting a running back if I had to guess. And I think the 3 running backs we go into the season with will be Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, and a rookie, and then maybe Ty Johnson on the practice squad and Perine on the practice squad, as well as potentially Walter. I think Perine might be a cut candidate if I had to guess. He just didn't really pan out for this team. He was more of a Gase pick, more of a Gase systems fit. And I'm okay with Perine being a bust, to be honest, because we got Michael Carter, who's an absolute stud. Now, the safety room is very interesting because we got a lot of people on the roster, and it's interesting to see all these guys and who's going to be the starters, who's going to be providing depth. And guys, if you're just tuning into the stream for the first time, we are breaking down the entire Jets roster. If you guys are enjoying this show, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. We got a different type of style stream today. I just want to do something different. Instead of talking about anything coming up, I want to really talk about what's going on with the Jets team and breaking down each individual player. So if you guys are in the stream and you did not hit that like button yet, please make sure you do so. We got 19 likes with 50 guys tuning in. So don't forget to smash that thumbs up button for your boy. I really appreciate everybody tuning into the show. It means a lot to the channel, of course. So let's get back into the safety room. Ashtyn Davis, another guy from that 2020 draft class. I don't really know what to expect from him. I don't know if he's going to be providing depth in terms of, making an impact when his name is called. I feel like this is his last season for the Jets to really prove to be a piece for the future. I don't think he's going to be a starter, though. Lamarcus Joyner might be the starting free safety for the New York Jets this season. I think it might be Joyner and Whitehead as the two safeties week number 1, unless we draft a player like early, like a Daxton Hill or Lewis Cine or something like that, or a Kyle Hamilton, right? So I think it's going to be Joyner and Whitehead based on what we're seeing right now, because Zay Lewis, not expecting him to make the roster. Mofat, not expecting him to make the roster. Kay Nukua, not really expecting anything from him. Will Parks, I think he's going to make the roster, provide depth, of course. And Elijah Riley, who actually looked really good last year for the Jets when his name was called. And of course, Jordan Whitehead is the big ticket safety acquisition for the New York Jets that I'm really excited for. He's going to be a starting strong safety, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be locking down the mobile quarterbacks. He's going to be a guy that's going to be lining up in the box, lining up on the outside, lining up on the inside, lining up like free. He's going to be everywhere. He's going to be our Swiss Army knife style player. Like, he's low-key kind of like a Jamal Adams, but a player that can do a little more in coverage. He's really, really good at hitting the quarterback when they try to run. He's good at blitzing. He's good at open field tackling. And most importantly, he's good at stopping the run. And that's what you need. You need people in the back end to be able to stop the run, which is a great trait that Jordan Whitehead has. Now, getting into the tackle spot for the New York Jets, we got Mekhi Becton, Chuma Edoga, George Fent, and Greg Sennett. We just re-signed Greg Sennett. So these are the 4 tackles we got. And throw in Connor McDermott as well on that list that we broke down earlier. It's going to be Mekhi Becton and George Fent as the starters, and Chuma Edoga is going to be that backup tackle. Let's hope that Chuma never sees the field, because that means that Mekhi and Fent are both healthy and ready to go all season long. Now, the tight ends. Look at these tight ends, guys. All of a sudden, we have a tight end room. Let me know your thoughts about this tight end room. What the hell? We actually have tight ends on the roster? Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzomah as the 2 big-ticket people. Tight end number 1 and tight end number 2. Let's go. I'm excited for this tight end room, man. This is the one position on offense that I'm expecting really big things from this season, especially at a position that the Jets have not been productive for so damn long. So I'm really excited to see what these 2 can do. I like Kenny Yeboah as tight end 3. I really feel like he's going to be a guy that can be a slept-on piece for this Jets team this season. I feel like we might draft a tight end, because this is a very deep tight end room in the draft. Maybe a guy like Jelani Woods or Isaiah Likely or Trey McBride. You never know who it's going to be, or a Rucker or a Ferguson in the draft. But if they don't draft a tight end, Kenny Yeboah being tight end number 3 behind Uzomah and Conklin, I like that. We still got Trevon Wesco on the roster. So sign me up, man. Now, the last position group we're going to be breaking down is the wide receivers. Now, this is the position that I feel like Jets fans are expected to be a lot of additions in the next couple of weeks, whether it's going to be a trade or whether it's going to be players in the draft. So we got Braxton Berrios, brought him back, baby. Let's go. Tariq Black, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, DJ Montgomery, Elijah Moore, Jeff Smith. So if I had to rank these guys from 1 to 7, or wherever wide receivers there are, I would put Elijah Moore as 1, Corey Davis 2, Braxton Berrios 3, Denzel Mims 4, Jeff Smith 5, DJ Montgomery 6, Tariq Black 7, and then Rodney Adams 8th. So I'm expecting us to, say hypothetically, we draft a guy in Jameson Williams. I think it's going to be pretty fun to watch what Jameson Williams can do with Elijah Moore and Corey Davis and Denzel and Braxton. I think that's what the Jets' approach is going into this year's draft, is draft the premier guy, and then the 2 outside quarterback wide receivers will be Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and then we can sub in the rookie that we got, whether that's Treylon Burks, whether that's Drake London, whether it's Garrett Wilson, whether it's Jameson Williams. We don't know who it's going to be. And you know who I think is going to be a really big slept-on player that's going to be a little more part of the offense that people might expect? It's this man. It's the honey nut, Braxton Berrios. I think Braxton Berrios is about to be like the starting slot receiver for the Jets this year. I think he's going to be a player that's going to be heavily involved in the offense, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like last year some Jets fans before he really broke out, was like, oh, why is Braxton like here? Like, oh, like we want someone better. Like, Braxton Berrios is a darn good football player. He's reliable. He has great chemistry with Zach, and I'm excited to see what he can do, man. I feel like he's going to be a player that's going to be a little more involved in this offense than most people might expect. Absolutely, for sure. And another player is Lawrence Cager, as someone in the chat mentioned. I don't know why he's not listed on this roster list on the team, but we'll see. And then unrestricted free agents that are still out there for the Jets is Keelan Cole unsigned, LDT unsigned, Tyler Croft unsigned, and BJ Goodson is retired. So that's my breakdown, guys, of the Jets roster. Let me know your thoughts about that. I broke down pretty much every single position group, every single position, and every single player on this Jets team. So let me know your thoughts about that. I'm excited to see what the Jets do. And now to finish off this stream, we're going to do something a little more fun. Can you guys guess what it's going to be? Anybody guess what it's going to be, huh? Before we do that, let's get into a Jets Q&A. We're going to finish off the stream with the mock draft. Everyone's going to be involved. But before we get into the mock draft, let's get into a Jets Q&A. So ask away any questions about the New York Jets. Remember, Super Chats are priority. You get to skip the line if you send in a Super Chat. But right now, send in any questions regarding the New York Jets, regarding the draft coming up, regarding any trade scenarios, any players on the roster you want me to talk about. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about in the chat, and then we'll get into the mock draft after the Jets Q&A for sure. If you had to leave one hole on the team for next season, what would it be? Because you can't fill all the needs. If I had to leave one hole on the team, it would probably be it's a good question. Probably like safety and linebacker, because linebacker we have CJ and Quincy Williams, and then the two rookies from last year in Sherwood and Najeldine. I don't think that's going to be a position that the Jets are going to address as much as people expect in the draft. And safety, I prefer them to draft a player, but I think linebacker is probably that position. I really want the Jets to go out there, get a receiver, add depth to the O-line, get a running back, and make sure they obviously go out there in the defensive line and get an edge. So I think linebacker is my answer here. Should we re-sign LDT? I would love to re-sign LDT. There's nothing wrong with depth on that offensive line, man. I really think that he's the guy that we need to re-sign for depth. What are your thoughts of Rob Calabrese? Do you think he'll be our offensive coordinator in a couple of years? Salah has mentioned that. Fun fact about Rob Calabrese, I went to high school with his cousin. Pretty crazy. When he got hired and I saw that last name, I'm like, wait. And then I found out that a girl that was a year older than me, her first cousin is Rob Calabrese. Pretty crazy stuff. He is from Long Island. But the only way Rob Calabrese becomes the offensive coordinator, you know what needs to happen first? Mike LaFleur needs to get a job as a head coach. Now, that would be sick. If Rob Calabrese is the offensive coordinator in the future, that means Mike LaFleur is the head coach somewhere else. That means that this Jets offense is exploding. So, hell yeah. That would be sick if Rob Calabrese is eventually the offensive coordinator. Right now, he is the quarterback coach. He's a guy that's going to be in the ear of Zach Wilson. He's going to be behind the floor, learning the playbook, learning how to call plays. And I'm expecting really good things from Rob Calabrese and this entire Jets coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball for sure. Nathan says, edge at 4, Williams, London, maybe Wilson at 10. If we go wide receiver, though, we don't have to. Yeah, I think that edge at 4, wide receiver at 10 is my ideal scenario. I think Kayvon Thibodeau at 4 and Jameson Williams at 10 is my favorite out of like all the different scenarios that I've been coming up with in my head. So sign me up for that. If we get a linebacker in the draft and do cut one as well. Yeah, I think that if we get a linebacker in the draft, then we're going to have to cut, someone, because we have CJ, Quincy, Sherwood, and Najeldine. So if we draft another one, then we'll have 5 linebackers. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of players at the same position, but I feel like this is a position that a lot of people don't expect. Rumor is we might sign Melvin Gordon. Thoughts? I would be pretty shocked. I mean, where are these rumors coming from? I haven't seen them anywhere. I would love to see where these rumors are coming from. But if we do get Melvin Gordon, that is a guy that I actually would, be okay with, because he is a guy that has proved to be a veteran presence on his team. And for me, it just doesn't make sense in terms of we have our veteran at the running back spot, Tevin Coleman. So I'd rather the Jets just draft another running back in the draft class and then do that. Which position would you trade up for? I'd trade up for a receiver. I'd trade up for an edge rusher. I'd trade up for an offensive lineman, like a Tyler Linderbaum if he falls. I'd trade up for, that's pretty much it. Maybe a corner if they really love a corner. But the main premier positions that I would like to see the Jets trade up for is wide receiver, edge rusher, maybe even interior defensive line. Because if there's a guy that they really feel like they love and they don't think that he's going to be available when they're on the clock again, then you trade up and get him. I don't care about sacrificing capital. You got to do it. Do you think Corey Davis's issues were a fluke, bounce back? I think Corey Davis is a player that is not a number one receiver, and last year he was thrown into the number one receiver role and struggled. Corey Davis is going to thrive as a number two option, and a big factor of that is Elijah Moore taking a big step and getting another playmaker on this roster that's going to take pressure off of Corey Davis. That's not a knock on Corey Davis. We gave him good wide receiver 2 money, right? We're not paying Corey Davis to be the number one guy. We're paying him $13.5 million per year. Yes, that's the market right now. His best season was coming off the year with the Tennessee Titans, and A.J. Brown was the number one receiver. Opened up Corey Davis. He had just under 1,000 yards that season. If Elijah Moore takes that next step and takes over that number one receiver role, and then we draft another receiver, I think Corey Davis is really going to be unlocked because he's a veteran guy that's reliable. Not anything crazy, but I think Corey Davis is a guy that struggled with drop issues and just did not really handle the pressure of being a number one option in terms of, getting double teamed and all that stuff. Would you trade up for Dean? I personally wouldn't. I don't feel like the Jets value that linebacker position right now. I feel like the Jets really like what they got in Quincy Williams more than we expect, and I think that they're not going to trade up for Dean. I'm just saying what I'm expecting the Jets to do, not really what I would do right now based on this question. I don't really think that's going to happen. Do you think packaging 38 and 69 can get us back into the teens? Yeah, I mean, it depends. We might have to package 35 and 38, to be honest, if we want to get back into the teens. Into the late 20s, then yeah, I think 38 and 69 would get it done. But if you want to trade back into the teens, like 15, 14, or 16, 17, it might have to be 35 and 38. Corey Davis was injured. He injured himself, then he came back, and then he tore his core muscle or something. He was out for the year. Mims will definitely be a factor this year. I sure hope so, Robert. If the first 2 picks don't include Hutchinson, do we trade up a spot at 3 and take him? I don't know if the Jets are gonna. I don't know what we'd have to give up to do that. I would love Hutchinson on the Jets. Like, that would be insane. But I don't really know if the Jets are gonna. Listen, if they love Hutchinson and they feel like he's gonna be a game changer, and he's there at 3, and they just want to give up, a future pick or a mid-round pick to move up 1 spot, then you do it. I would love to do it. I think Hutchinson would be a game wrecker for us. I know his play on the field is great, but one thing I love about Aiden Hutchinson is his character and his leadership abilities. I feel like he'd become a captain for this team. Hello, I don't think we trade him, but what would you give for Debo? I'd give you 35, pick 35, pick 38, pick 69. Same package we offered for Tyreek Hill. It's a lot. You got 2 really early second-round picks, and you got a third-round pick, and then throw in an extra pick from next year's draft. And we'll pay him a lot of money. How about that? In my opinion, I don't think Wilson is that franchise quarterback. Hey, man, I think we can't assess it yet. I really don't think you can say he's a franchise quarterback or say he's not a franchise quarterback based on one rookie season. There's a lot of things that happen in his rookie year. I think we're going to understand if he's that franchise guy this season and year number 3. Because you got to give a rookie quarterback 3 seasons to really assess the situation. to really label him a franchise guy or not to label him, in my opinion. If you can get any player that is a receiver in the draft, who would it be? Jameson Williams. I'm obsessed with his play style and his energy and his playmaking ability. Like, he is everything that Joe Douglas explains that he wants in his offense, and I would love him on the Jets next to Elijah Moore. Please. How is it that these mock drafts not seem to know what the Jets actually want to do? Connor Hughes says they're going edge and receiver. That's what I want them to do as well, and I think that's what they're going to do. Amazing how fast you guys sour on players. Give them 3 years and then judge. I agree. You cannot, like, write off a player after 1 year. You just can't do it. You really can't. Jameson's speed is insane. I want him on the Jets desperately. Matt, what's good, man? A good member on the channel. Appreciate you tuning into the show, my man. Appreciate you tuning into the show. Richie, do you think we should use Hamza Nasruddin a lot more this year? I think he's a stud. I also love Chris Olave. Yeah, I think Hamza Nasruddin is going to be have a starting job on the special teams for sure. But I think that he's going to be subbed in on packages. I think he's a very raw player last year to really get playing time. But if he grows into his body and he's healthy, I think he could be a really interesting piece to this Robert Saleh defense this year. If JD took Burks, I'd be okay with it, 100%. Burks is probably one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft outside of Jameson Williams. My two favorites are Williams and Burks, me personally. You know, I like Garrett Wilson, I like Olave, I like London, but I love that. And I love Olave, of course. Josh Allen and Zach had similar rookie years. Yeah, they did. And remember, Josh Allen did not have a good sophomore season. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that Zach Wilson will have the same, trajectory as Josh. But not every single player as a quarterback pops off in the first 2 years. Bryce Hall, top 3 cornerback in the 2020 class. Remind them, Jets gang. Remind all these Jets fans that want to replace him. Bryce Hall is a starting cornerback for the Jets this year. And I'll stand on that hill. Yes, I said it. All right, guys. You guys ready for a mock draft? Let me know if you're ready for a mock draft. Guys, smash that thumbs up button for your boy. We got 30 likes with 60 you guys tuning in. Smash that thumbs up button, and then we're going to get right into a mock draft. Let me know. Hit that thumbs up button for your boy, and then we will start the mock draft. I think I all know who the pick's going to be at for number 4 because the board is, I know who's on the clock already. We're on the board. All right, mock draft, baby. Hey, we got a nice super chat from the 100 Club. Hi, Richie. Love the content. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Given quarterback draft market next year, will be crazy think we should trade down from 10 for a second 23 first. Would be sick value. I think we can get all our needs. Yeah, we do not have an extra pick next year in the first round. We do not have an extra pick next year in the second round either. So if I'm Joe Douglas, I might go out there this year and try to be creative in this year's draft class and acquire some capital next year. Because not only can we use those picks on a player next year, but we can use that as ammo to trade if a player that becomes available at the trade deadline or in the offseason in the trade market. So I think it's very unlikely, the 100 Club, that the Jets do exactly this. They move back from 10 to acquire a first-round pick next year. I'd be all on board for that. I know some Jets fans don't want to hear that. They want to go all in and get the players now, but they got to have a long-term vision. You got to be able to acquire capital for future picks. And Joe Douglas so far has a great knack for acquiring capital, but next year we just have our own picks, really. We don't have a lot of double picks in the rounds. But I appreciate the donation, my man. It really does mean a lot to the channel. Shout out to the 100 Club for this generous, very generous donation. All right, let's get into the mock draft. So the first pick was Aiden Hutchinson. Malik Willis went number 2 to the Lions. Trayvon Walker went number 3. So I know my pick. My pick is Kayvon Thibodeaux. Let me know your thoughts. Kayvon Thibodeaux. Anybody disagree with the Kayvon Thibodeaux pick? I think it's a no-brainer. Kayvon Thibodeau's my pick here. What's your pick? All right, KT it is. Boom. All right. Oh, Sauce just went at 9. So now we're on the clock at number 10. Here's the guys available. Derek Stingley, London, Jameson Williams. If I was the Jets, I would take Jameson Williams here. How about you guys? I want to take Jameson Williams. Let's hear it. What do you guys think? People want Williams, Jameson, London, Cross, J. Will. All right. I'm picking Jameson, baby. Bring J-Mo to New York. So we went edge and receiver. James with the $2 dono. Allen went 20 touchdowns, 9 ints in year 2. Went 10 and 6. Love to see that from Zach in year 2. I think that's realistic. I think Zach can do this. Appreciate the $2 super chat, James. Thank you so much. All right, so we're back on the clock at 35. Who's available? Harry Winfrey, Nakobe Dean, Jaquan Brisker, Watson, Jalen Petrie, Tariq Woolen, Breece Hall, Roger McCreary, Pickens, McBride. All right. So if you're just tuning in, here are the picks so far. We got Thibodeaux and Williams. Who should we take now? Is it Nakobe Dean? Is it Perry and Winfrey? Is it Brisker? Is it Tyler Smith? My pick would be this man. That would be my pick. I know a lot of people are like, no, never an interior defensive lineman. No, that's so bad. PTSD, the Jets don't need it. I disagree, and I would love Winfrey. But I want you guys to all agree with me. I see some people are down to take Winfrey. All right, we got 1, 2, 3. All right, we got 3 people in the chat so far that is down for Winfrey. So, might be down. Remember, we have a pick at 38. We picked literally 3 picks after this. And I feel like if we don't take Winfrey, he's gone at 38. So, I think I'm going to take it Winfrey, man. We're going to boost up those trenches, baby. We're going to do it. Boom, the Senior Bowl legend. All right, we're back on the clock. Winfrey was the pick. Brisker went. I was going to take him next. So we took Winfrey. Now, this might have to be Nakobe Dean, man. Is it Dean? Or do we go offensive line? Like Smith? Do we go Petrie? Do we go Breece Hall? Pickens? McBride? Mechie? I think this has to be Dean. Let's see the offensive line available, because I do think the Jets might take O-line in a second. I mean, Tyler Smith could be a guy. I don't know. I think Nakobe Dean for value purposes. What do you guys think of Nakobe Dean here? Let me know your thoughts. Yay or nay? Hey, man, if we get Dean, then we low-key got 2 first-round picks in the second round, because Winfrey and Dean falling into the second round, you never know, and that's why we're so lucky to have 35 and 38, because we're literally getting first-round talent. We're getting players that somehow slid, like last year with Elijah Moore. Reese, Pickens. Hey, man, you never know what can happen. So here are the picks so far. I don't know what to do. I feel like Nakobe Dean is a little unrealistic at this spot, but who else would we take outside of him? I don't think the Jets are going to take Breece Hall at this spot. Personally. And he's not even ranked that high on this, which is interesting. I don't think the Jets are going to take McBride in the second round either. The only way they get McBride is if he falls in the third round. We literally signed 2 big tight ends, so it's not like I love McBride, trust me, but I don't think that's going to be the pick. So I'm going to do based on what the board tells me, and we're taking Nakobe Dean. So now we got our edge in Kayvon Thibodeau. We got our receiver in Jameson Williams. We got an interior D lineman in Perry and Winfrey. And we got a linebacker in Nakobe Dean. All of a sudden, the defense got 3 big-time pieces. All right, McBride is still here in the third round. That might have to be the pick. So we have McBride. We got Travis Jones fell all the way over here. Isaiah Likely. Darian Kennard if we want to go offensive lineman. Calvin Austin III if we want to double down on receiver. Ruckert's still here. Dulcich. People want Isaiah Spiller. Isaiah Spiller complimenting Michael Carter? We can't get Travis Jones because we already took Perry and Winfrey. We're not going to get 2 interior defensive linemen. So I'm split between Spiller and McBride, really. What do you guys think? And let's see the safety position. That's another need. Oh, safeties are all gone. All my good safeties are gone. I mean, there's still some good ones in the back end, but do you guys like a safety that's available, or should we go offense? All right, seems like everyone wants Spiller, so I think that's what we're going to do. All right, we're getting a running back. Boom. Alrighty. All the tight ends are going now. All right, we're back on the clock in round number 4. Who do you guys want? I think this is a good spot for an offensive lineman, if I had to say, or a safety. This is who we got so far. So what do you guys think? So I think tight end, safety, and offensive lineman are the players. Ooh, Jelani Woods. That would be a good pick here. Jelani Woods is still available. Damari Mathis, Nick Cross at the safety spot. I like Brian Cook a lot. JT Woods. Now, offensive lineman. Yeah, I feel like the Jets are going to draft an O-lineman like in at this round. I know some Jets fans don't want to hear that, but we need depth. We need a rookie to develop behind Fant and Mackay. And we need even the center as well. So, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Nick Cross or Woods? I mean, let's see. We went edge, wide receiver, D-line, linebacker, running back. So, should we go safety here or tight end? I think Cross looks like a consensus. Safety out of Maryland. All right, everyone wants Cross. We're going to take Cross, bolster up the safety room. Cross it is. And of course, Jelani Woods went. I was going to say, if we can get Woods as well, that would be great. Of course, he left. Wow, Majai Sanders still here. That's a steal. Back in. Should we go Alec Pierce to get another running back, wide receiver? Nah. Who do you guys want now? So this is who we have so far, and let's see who's still available at the O-tackle spot. Justin Schaefer. Tyrese Robinson. What do you guys think? There's a lot of Senior Bowl guys here. Pierce. Here's the tight ends. Weidenmeyer, Cole Turner, Prince, Conwo. We low-key need a center. Like, this is the tough one, man. When you're in the back end of the draft, it's like, what position do we get? And I wanted Jelani Woods, but he already is off the board. So let me hear your thoughts. Who should we take here, everybody? Should we take Kobe Bryant? We haven't took a corner yet. Jalen Watson still here. Zion McCollum. See another edge. Majai Sanders. Do we get Majai Sanders and Thibodeau in the same draft? Or do we go Sanders? This is tough. We already got our edge in Thibodeau, so would it be smart to get Sanders and double down? I mean, we hired the Cincinnati defensive coach, so he knows him well. Wow, this is tough, guys. This is tough. Auto select. All right. We're taking Sanders. We're doubling up on the trenches, baby. Yes, sir. 2 edges. A premier guy in Thibodeau. Another guy to provide depth in Sanders. We're getting to that quarterback. We got 3 defensive linemen in this draft, including Winfrey. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now at 146, Kobe Bryant's still here. I would like to take Kobe Bryant here. We have not taken a corner yet. We've also not taken an offensive lineman yet, which I don't like. We need an lineman. You guys are not allowing me to. Is Alec Pierce still available? No, Alec Pierce left the building. I would have loved Pierce. He's a big sleeper this year. Bo Melton is another guy that I like. We coached him in the Senior Bowl. He's a really good special teams option, really good depth piece, that speedy threat. I think Kobe Bryant might have to be the pick here. The Jets are known to draft a lot of corners late in the draft. He could be the next Eccles or the next, Michael Carter II. How many picks do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 2 picks left. I'm going to take Kobe Bryant here. Or should we go O-line? Because I need an O-line. Cam Jurgens. Could take this big man. Is it O-line? What do you guys think? Cam Jurgens? Luke Forder? Let's see the tackle spot. Braxton Jones? Max Mitchell? What do you guys think? Which O-lineman should I get? Someone in the chat loves Jurgens. All right, we're taking Jurgens. Let's take it no tackle. For the last pick, here are all the tackles available. Should we just take a tackle? Should we just take Zach Tom or Kellen Diesch? We'll take Kellen. All right. We got the 2 offensive linemen at the back end of the 5th round to help bolster up that O-line. So here are the results. Let me know your thoughts about this. Give me a letter grade. Well, this isn't really my mock draft, right? This is our mock draft. I didn't do all these picks. I based my picks off of you guys in the chat, so I don't want to hear it if you guys don't love it, okay? I'm just kidding. Let me know your thoughts about this mock draft, guys. Kayvon Thibodeau, Jameson Williams, Perry Winfrey, Nakobe Dean, Isaiah Spiller, Nick Cross, Majay Sanders, Cam Jurgens, and Kellen Diesch. Let me know your thoughts. We got a B, a B+, A+++ from the NY Jet Superfan. Thank you. Eric with $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my man. In my mock draft, I have you guys drafting in the 1st round Sauce Gardner. That would be sick, Eric. I would love Sauce Gardner. I prefer to get him at number 10, but it's probably unlikely that happens. But I appreciate the $5 donation nonetheless. Love to see what the Jets do in the draft. If we get Sauce, I'd be on board. But at the same time, I don't really think we need Sauce. I love Bryce Hall, and I love DJ Reed. But you can't go wrong with Sauce Gardner because he really has that elite potential written all over it. So, Eric, I appreciate the $5 donation. It means a lot, my man. We filled every need, wide receiver, DN, safety, linebacker, and depth everywhere. 100%. And a stud running back. What else can you ask for, man? What else can you ask for? We bolstered up the trenches. All of a sudden, we have Kayvon Thibodeau and Majay Sanders on the edge. We bolstered up the interior defensive line with Winfrey. We got our dynamic wide receiver in Williams. We got another running back to complement Carter and Coleman. We got a safety that's probably going to be even starting potentially. And we got our 2 depth pieces on the offensive line. And we got our Nakobe Dean, who's going to be a linebacker. We only need 1 linebacker, in my opinion. All right, guys, so I appreciate all the help on this mock draft. We're going to end off the stream here. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Don't forget to like the stream if you did not already. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Stay tuned for more Jets content. I'll be live tomorrow with a special guest. Special guest 3 days in a row on the channel. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I love you guys. Smash that like button if you did not already. And I appreciate you guys. Let's go Jets. Peace out.